Hi, Gary. How are you?
Hey, Don. How are
Hey,
you?
Gary. Everything good?
It's all good here on Don and Gary doing 60.
Yes, and welcome to Don and Gary Doing 60. We're here to unwrap and unpack navigating the world at
Say
our
it.
age. Our age.
Yes.
So, Gary, what
You're
are we
getting there.
talking?
You're getting really good
know,
at this.
well, it's now I have to work with the timing, but here's. So, what are we talking about this week, Gary? What are we doing?
Well, we're going to share a little bit. I have some information I'm going to share that I found online.
Yes.
We have a guest who's joining us who is, this side of 60.
Up.
And,
What side?
what?
That side or that side?
And he's all over the place.
All right.
So we have a guest joining us, and then, we will see what comes out of that conversation.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
You can chime in
Yes.
just a minute, but Gary, how's
Yes.
your meatloaf?
Is that code for something?
No, it's actually not a euphemism
No,
for something.
literally
for a
it was
change.
meatloaf. The dish. No, I had a relative who is visiting from Mexico for a couple of days. She leaves tomorrow. So I decided it was a good opportunity to call the family together for a Sunday dinner. And I did everything. The one thing I didn't show was I also made ceviche.
Ah.
So I made shrimp ceviche. And then the dinner was meatloaf, mashed potatoes. And and of course I had to post it because who doesn't like posting food?
Well, and what I love about meatloaf is every single person has a meatloaf is I think quintessential American food, and yet every ethnicity has their version of meatloaf. Where you just throw leftovers into a pot or a pan or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know Gary's mom's a good cook, and I know Gary's a good cook, so I'm guessing Don his meatloaf was pretty good.
I'm
I'm not going to lie, it's pretty darn tasty.
Speaking
Yes,
of that
yes.
guy on our right, Gary, should we introduce him?
Yes,
Yes.
Our mystery guest is no longer a
mystery
mystery.
guest.
No longer a mystery.
No, well,
I was trying to do the math. So I met Alan, I want to say, back in the 90s.
Yeah. I was still in Texas, right?
You've actually never lived here in the Bay Area, have you? Or have
I
you?
have not. No,
Yeah.
no. Grew up in Chico,
Yeah.
up in northern. But my great grandfather immigrated to San Francisco. My grandfather and father born there.
Yeah.
So I definitely have. They're all buried out in Colma.
But all the time I've known you, you've lived in Southern California.
Well, let's see. I moved to Southern California in 2004. So when we met in the 90s, I was still in Houston,
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. So we met through mutual friends and
Right.
kept in touch. And we've traveled together. A
Right.
big group of us went to Puerto Vallarta. Several years ago, Alan and I did a river cruise on the Danube.
Yes. Well, we started on the Danube,
I heard
remember,
you dried
and the
it out.
Danube dried
Didn't
up.
you guys dry it up?
Well, we didn't dry it out.
No, we were trying very hard to keep it wet,
I'm not
But,
sure.
We were doing what we could to keep it wet.
doing what we could.
But
It was a great tour, though. But yeah, we didn't get to do the whole river. But
yeah, there was a drought that summer, so they had to take us off the boat. We still managed to continue. We just had to go on land instead of on the
different
boat.
version. But it was a great trip. Yeah.
It was a great trip. It was a fun trip. But anyway, so that's how I know Alan through mutual friends, and then, like I said, we've traveled together. I think those might be the only two trips. Oh no! One year, your birthday, you celebrated up
Birthday.
in Mendocino.
Correct,
And he rented
right.
a house that
Yeah.
we must have been like 12 or so of us
I believe. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
on this.
And it was
beautiful
on a
house.
bluff. Yeah.
Yes. In Mendocino, which is about 3 hours north of San Francisco, beautiful, part of the state, and so we had a fun weekend then. So yeah, we've traveled our share.
Yes,
But,
we have.
You're not nervous being on camera.
No, I'm not. No,
Okay, good.
I was so flattered to be asked.
Oh,
I
no.
was a huge fan of Three Ps in a podcast. So I knew you were doing this. I had not deep dove on it until Gary reached out last week, and so I got all caught up this weekend on the two of you doing 60. And what's the math, Gary? Don, do we remember when our paths crossed because of Gary?
I'm gonna say Gary probably knows.
It's
but
been quite a while.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, because
Yeah.
on the times that you'd be up here and there was some event, that's
Right.
usually where we'd. And you came up quite a bit for various things.
Oh, off and on, right.
Yeah.
I want to say that Don may have been either single or just starting the relationship that he's currently in
Could be.
when our paths crossed.
Could be.
So that would have been more than 24 years ago.
It's probably because I've been in LA 20 years now,
Yeah.
or Southern California, and it was long before that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, the three of us do have a long history, as
And
history goes.
we
But we're
happen
all
to-
doing 60.
Yeah, we're all happen to be in the same era for each other right now. So that's actually we're really glad you're here, Alan,
Correct.
and thank you for coming. We felt you were a natural candidate because, as I said, you do fall into our dot or a check mark on the box now at all the applications that when you fill them out.
Right. Well, I'm actually over the middle hump too. You know,
Oh.
I'm 66 now.
Oh,
Yeah. So
okay.
So, which brings the question, because, well, since you said that, then I can say that when we did the Danube trip, that was for Alan's 60th.
yes, right.
Okay. So the fact that you were celebrating it, wanted to do something fun and big, tells me that turning 60 was not a big deal for you. Is that the case?
Interesting question. I know Don will relate to this because what I have loved about Three Ps and you guys doing this is Don, and he still does this. Forgive me, Don, but
I'm in the room.
the age thing. Yes, you are. The age thing for Don has always been. Don. We need to change your happy birthday banner because it says "Vote Dukakis" on the back. But I had trouble at 29 and 39 and 49 and 59. Those last birthdays of those decades
Yeah.
were harder for me than the actual milestone of the 30, 40, 50.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah.
And was it the same kind of feeling each time, or did it change?
I think for the most part, it stayed pretty much the same. It was just a vanity thing getting older.
Like,
You know?
oh, I'm no longer going to be in my 20s. I'm no longer going to be
Right.
30, that type of thing?
Right.
Yeah.
I've never feared growing older. It wasn't an issue. Because when I process it through, it is just a number. And I've never ever felt the age that's on my, driver's license. Never.
Right.
To this day. And I always say that my brain keeps trying to cash checks that my body cannot cover.
So to steal from Julia Louis-Dreyfus,
Uh-huh.
she has a podcast called Wiser Than Me, where she interviews older women. And so, she says, how old are you? And do you mind telling your age? So you've already told us 66.
Correct,
And she
yeah.
follows up with, how old do you feel?
How old do I feel, or how old do I want? Do I want to feel?
Both.
We can do both. Part B is how old do you feel? Part C is how old do you want to feel?
I think, like, my internet age is 53.
I like that.
I think, yeah. I think more often than not, I think I'm 49 still, which will lead me to 2 years ago, San Francisco, celebrating a dear friend's 60th birthday, and wasn't able to make that celebration because I was feeling very young and vibrant and whatever the other words you want to describe, and fell and hurt myself. So, to be supremely honest, that was the wake-up call for me to just, I needed to stop. I needed to be the tortoise, not the hare. I had been saying for years, friends had been telling me for years between my job and my personal life, Alan, you need to slow down. You're just go, go, go. You're always going. You need to slow down. And in my mind, I kind of thought I was, but the Lord works in mysterious ways. I love that cliche. The fall that I had, Gary, actually was really, really a wake up call, a blessing, a moment of when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade, add a little vodka.
Yeah.
That actually got me to slow down and to realize where I needed to make some changes in my life so that I could continue to go and go and go, but had to be smart about it, listen to my body, those things that now that we're in our 60s, we still think we can do everything, and we can. It's just the recovery, the next day.
I was going to ask because
just
the
be
fact that
cautious
you did
about it,
injure
right? Yeah.
yourself. I mean, was it a harder recovery for you? Did it take a little bit longer than you thought it would, or wanted? I probably that you wanted it to.
Actually, Don, I love that question. Here's the most crazy thing about, and when I say this, you both may realize, for as long as you've known me, that this may be the case. So the accident was on a Friday. I was in the hospital Saturday, Sunday, Monday, had the surgery Tuesday, got out Thursday. Our dear friends, the Shuttleworth Lencys, were able to get me and my car back home. I could not put weight. I fractured my tibia and could not put weight on my leg. It was going to be probably 2 months before I'd be able to put weight on the leg, with recovery and rehabilitation, be able to drive. But on that Sunday, with crutches in hand, I was on an airplane to Boise to meet one of my clients for my job, which I am a tour director. I'm the guy at the front of the bus with the microphone, because I was taking a group of 36 people from the northern Idaho area to Michigan and Mackinac Island. And I had never been to Mackinac Island at the Grand Hotel. And damn it, I was going to go and I was going to be on that tour. I called him and I said, hey, I can still do the tour. I'm just on crutches. And I've toured with these people for years. So it was like going with your family. They're like, come on. They took very good care of me and we had an amazing tour, had a wonderful experience. So the recovery, I still had to, and crutches are evil, by the way, but it slowed me down, but it didn't stop me. And I've wanted to live my life throughout the last 60 plus years where, you can't control sometimes what happens to you, but you can control how you respond.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
And
your
I know
attitude.
it's easier said than done, but yeah, I did slow down. I still, up and down stairs, if I'm carrying heavy weights, it's difficult, but,
It's difficult for all
I get
of us,
tired
honey,
easier.
Don't worry.
Right. And so that's the thing. It's just like, I don't know what it's like. I don't know what it's supposed to be like at 66. But I think for me, I'm doing a damn good job of it. And I love that, I feel 49 to 53, somewhere in that ballpark.
And I think that's
Not sure I
important, too.
look it, but
Yeah, you look good. Stop fishing. You look good.
I'm not, the camera adds 10 pounds. I don't like that. But anyway,
And so you mentioned your job as a tour director, and you're still working, yes?
I'm still working. Yes, I'm getting ready. I leave in September for a week. I'm taking a student group to visit Ivy League colleges. We're going to do Harvard and Cornell. And,
Wow.
yeah, all those great iconic universities. So yeah, I'm still working. I'm not out pounding the pavement pursuing jobs as much. But they're still coming to me. And so when they do, I take them. So.
And so do you have a timeline that say, I want to retire at X age, or are you just going to keep going until you do it? Because you're still enjoying it, obviously.
When I first started doing the tour directing, because before tour directing, I was working with the tour operator, putting travel itineraries together, and I was active in the National Tour Association, and I'm on the inside. And when I started doing the tour directing thing, someone asked me, how long are you going to do this? And I said, as long as they'll hire me, or until it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Because at the bottom of my email signature, I have a little quote that says, "If it's not fun, why do it?"
Yeah.
And I had a boss that used to sort of, she didn't really like that phrase, and I had to explain it's the principle applies to everything you're doing, professional, personal. I mean, if I'm a surgeon, heart surgery, but I have to enjoy doing what I'm doing. Otherwise, it just becomes mundane or routine. I watched my father in a job that he loved doing, but as he progressed in his job and it became political, he would come home at the end of the day and he just didn't look like he was enjoying it. And I remember telling myself from a very young age, I was never going to be that way. I was never going to not love what I was doing because I don't have children, to put through college, didn't have a wife or partner to support or children to support or raise. I've had the luxury of being able to have that freedom to do that. I think obviously, children add a level of responsibility that, might have added to my father's sort of stress, but I've been able to enjoy every single career that I've had because I've loved what I was doing. And I think that also makes a huge difference in your head when you get up in the morning and, you're excited to face the day.
Right. And in this type of job, well, I think you enjoy the travel.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
you enjoy studying up to be able to have the knowledge to share with those people, because
Right.
you don't want to just have them drive for hours and stare out the window. You want to be able to
Right.
give information and share with them the knowledge you've got. And I know you enjoy
Yeah.
doing that. And then it's the interaction with the people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
To be able to do what I love to do personally, which is travel, and to do that and to get paid for it, I mean, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
Mark Twain said, "Find a job you love and you never work a day in your life," and that's how it's been for me every job I've had. Because I've loved what I've done. I've been very fortunate to be able to have that, and I'm going to keep doing it, like I said, until it's not fun anymore, until I don't enjoy it. Because then what's the use?
Right.
Because we've all been on tours where the tour director was not a good one, and it just doesn't make a good tour. And I just want to make sure people are having a good time. I want to be the kind of tour director that I would want if I were sitting in the bus.
So if you were not a tour guide, tour director, or in the tour business, I mean, when you were younger, did you have an idea of what you wanted to do?
Oh no, when I was really young, what do you want to be when you grow up? I don't ever remember being asked that question, so I don't know that I ever had an answer for it.
That's why we have the podcast.
Right.
Alan, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Me.
I just want to be me.
I just want to be me. Right. I changed my major 3 times in college and graduated and in public relations, but I didn't ever really pursue that actual avenue. I've always been in some type of a sales position, which I do consider tour director. I'm selling.
Oh yeah.
I'm selling destinations, itineraries. The thing about that for me has been, even no matter what, so I think when you first met me, I was in the plush business. I was if you had remember the arcade crane machine, the claw that comes down and grabs the toys.
Yeah.
If you owned those machines, you were probably buying the toys inside from me.
Okay.
Now so I was a carny basically, but I loved that job, and I could sell ice cubes to Eskimos if I believed in the ice cubes, and I loved that job. I loved selling those toys.
Those must have been some ice cubes.
Yeah, they were. Well, yeah. We call them Jello shots down here.
Oh, I love a good Jello shot.
I know you do.
I've had a few.
So,
Alan,
let me ask you another question, something a little different. Is there something that you do now that you didn't do as well from your past? Is there something that you're really good at now that you're doing better than you used to do? You do everything perfectly. It's all been good.
No, Don, as you know, I think this is why we all get along. Sometimes especially as a tour director, sometimes I'll say something and I'll be like, how in the hell am I getting away with this? um, my filter, I've never had a good filter.
Okay.
I didn't know you had one.
Yeah, I was going to question
There,
that too. It's like, you have a filter?
I rest my case. Don Pfeiffer, that's the pot calling the kettle black.
I never said I had a filter.
Well, but I think hopefully where I have always come from a place of the heart. I mean, honest, I'm just me. What I'm doing better now that I did once very well, and then I kind of segued away, and now I'm sort of back, dabbling my foot in. I go to church regularly. I've always felt spirituality is important, whatever that means for anybody, but I think it's important for everybody to have. But I've sought a little bit more stable spiritual base in my life, and that has helped balance out a physical and an emotional. So, I'm doing a little bit better on that. I'm trying to, be a good neighbor and helping. I'm kind of involved in, like, I've always admired Gary with his volunteer work in the city in San Francisco, and when I was in Houston, a couple of buddies and we started a nonprofit organization that raised quite a bit of money. So I've gotten back into helping those who don't quite have the blessings that I have. So that's probably the major thing that I'm able to do now that I'm not working so full time. So I'm able to volunteer and do some more things like that, which have really been beneficial for me. It's a great feeling when you do something for other people, how good you feel inside. It's,
right.
Right, Gary? It's a great feeling.
It is. Yeah, because sometimes, some people can just like write a check, and which is great. That's how they contribute. But I enjoy, I've been doing volunteering for the fire department for since 2006. So it's
forever.
18 years,
A long
18
time.
years.
Yeah.
And my neighbor association, 16 years. So yeah, if something you enjoy, then I keep doing it.
Well, and I will say, so the one thing when you asked me to do this, and I was looking back over the different chapters of my life, and I remember in my late 30s, early 40s, there's the stereotype of the bitter old queen, and I think we all probably know people who may sometimes fall into that category. And I realized that as gay men, 30s and 40s, at least back then, we don't have children. And children, we have dogs, right, Don?
Absolutely.
Children take you out of yourself. You can't be selfish if you're raising children or trying to raise children in a positive way. And, gay men, remember the double income, no kids, DINKs? Remember that terminology?
Yeah.
Double income, no kids. There was a restaurant in Palm Springs called that for a while. But it dawned on me that, we need to be involved in things that take us out of ourselves, or we end up older and selfish, and we turn inside instead of out. And that was what was so beautiful about being able to dedicate time and energy and resources to these nonprofit organizations where I was sitting on boards of directors. We started one, and now being able to just contribute in that way, it has helped me to get outside of myself, to be, actively involved where I'm not so self-centered as a single adult man, but I'm also fortunate that I have an extended family that also keeps me outside of myself. But I think that volunteer work, and probably Gary can support me on that, it does help you stay prioritized and focused, on the bigger picture. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's important to.
Mr.
And that's
Pfeiffer,
why we
any other
wanted you to talk
questions?
about this too, Alan, because it's important that we want people to hear this, and have you're sharing your gratification that you get from doing this, but also it's like one of those common factors for us as we grow older. I hear about a lot of isolation out there. I hear a lot of not loneliness, but people feel like they don't know what to do next. Retirement, is it a yes or a no, as Gary was asking? It's a big decision to make,
Right.
but the bigger question is what you do with your retirement if you have that.
Right.
So I mean, those things, all these
Right,
things that
and-
you're sharing are amazing for us to share with other people.
Oh, thank you. I so appreciated the opportunity that I was flattered and humbled that you asked me. I remember on 3Ps when you invited Dale to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, for me, I was probably an Uber fan from the standpoint of the fact that I know the three of you.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful to have that level as I followed your podcast, because the topics that you addressed and the people that you had was all great, but I got to hear from the basis of knowing you guys. It wasn't just a podcast that I came across and, oh, this is great. But for me, it was super great because of my friendship with you. And that's why I have to say I was very flattered that you asked me to do this.
Oh, thank you.
Because
Well,
what
I'm
I
so glad
think
you
you,
could join us.
what you guys did and what you're doing, I think is phenomenal. It's something that needs to be out there, because there's just way too much TikTok and shirtless guys dancing and people talking about, stuff that just isn't important. And you guys are addressing issues that are of importance to a huge number of people, and yet you do it in a loving and honest and caring way. And I think that's why you've been successful.
I think you need
Oh,
to write our
thank you. That's
scripts
very
for us,
sweet.
Alan. I think you need to write our transcripts.
Well,
'Cause
I am
you
a public relations
You
graduate.
just
I do know how to
sold
write.
that for me. I want to watch that podcast, whoever that is.
Don, who are these two guys he's
I
talking
don't know
about?
who
I
the-
want to know more.
We gotta hire this guy.
Oh, it was three of you, not two. It was three of you or something. No,
Right.
I'm loving this direction that you guys are going. Also,
But it's important, Alan, because
Yeah.
your story is important, and your story could help other people, which is again one of the main drivers for us wanting to do this. The way that people are either succeeding, struggling, moving on, but sharing the story to let everyone know that it's a very
Yeah.
common thread that we all share that maybe we don't realize
Yeah.
until someone like you can come and tell us how you're doing, what you're doing,
Right.
your life and everything too. I mean, I think that's very important. So if I could just jump in one more question. Well, there's a couple more.
Sure.
But if there was what would be the biggest compliment that you could receive from another person? And also, what would be the biggest compliment you could give to someone else?
what I want on my tombstone, even though I want to be
Well,
cremated and scattered.
Yeah, if you want to go there, sure.
Well, what I want, yes, the biggest compliment I could get, what means so much to me, is he was a good friend, or is a good friend. I just, and my friends that know me know that I love them. Don, if you'd ever answer my texts, you would get more of
Dude.
my love. But, I know that Gary knows how much I love him, and I know how much he loves
Note
me.
to self, answer Alan's text. Stat code blue. Go
And
ahead.
dude, we live 12 miles away.
Don't get me started, sir.
When are we gonna get
we
together?
Do not fight in front of the children. We're not ready for that.
Is it getting warm in here? I just
Sorry.
Hey, one more thing too. So to be a good friend was what you're answering, but also you have bragging rights because you came on before Dale got invited on.
I got what?
You got invited into the podcast before Dale did. So that's good.
Well,
On this one.
This one,
Yeah.
I was a little bit jealous that I never got invited to do 3Ps, but
Well, that one's gone. We're going to move on. So back to
I know,
you.
I know. No.
Back to you
So-
and not the texts. So you would like people to consider your compliment would be you were a good friend, right?
Right, yes.
Okay.
And,
what about if you could give a compliment? What would be-
that you're my friend. That's, to me, that because I didn't have my own family, when I was much younger, I wanted children, and then I realized, that wasn't going to be in the cards. But I was able to contribute in the lives of many children growing up. There's a lot of people that call me uncle and great uncle, and that's great. But I built my own family. That's how I know you guys. Friends, and introducing me to other friends, and I've just got this enormous number of people that I love, and I hope they know how much I love them. It's been important to me to have those people in my life. So if you're in my life, I guess that's my way of giving you a compliment.
Nice. Well, thank you. So we're going to turn the clocks back, and if you were to reflect back.
Oh,
Don, you don't need to turn around. It's a figure of speech.
Alan turned around. I want to turn around. He's our new writer and script
I was
consultant.
looking at my clock.
It's like, what? What time is it? Is there advice you'd give your younger self, and I'll let you pick what age? Like, if I were to talk to my 18-year-old self or my 25-year-old self or whatever age you want to pick, is there advice that you'd give that younger version of you?
And I'm going to stop you before you answer that question, Alan. Hold on.
Yeah.
Are you clicking a pen?
Oh, sorry. It was a nervous
Stop
habit.
that. Stop that.
Thank you, Techno Guru. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
fine. I'm the editor, but you're the new script consultant, so now go ahead.
There was feedback, I understand. I'm sorry. Interesting question. So here's kind of how I've lived my life, where when I go to bed at night, I want to like the person that I am when I go to bed. If I, sometimes people say, if you could go back and if you could turn back time, Cher, thank you very much. What would, and here's how I feel. I am the sum, the person that I am today is the sum of the 66 years previous of my life. And I'm pretty damn proud of the person that I am. I've had an amazing life. I've had great things happen to me. I've had some bad things happen, but experiences happen, and they're for our benefit ultimately. Even the fall, like I said, when life gives you lemons, you have to make lemonade. You just can't sit there and cry. And it's a process. When you stub your toe, 2 days later you're better. When you break your leg, it takes 2 months. I really strive always to like who I am, and I'm the sum of those experiences. So, advice to my younger self, probably 21 age, start. Follow your heart, but make sure your heart and your brain are dancing together. Because as you both know, I'm a very passionate, emotional person, and the times that has gotten the better of me, maybe things have gotten a little more hectic than they could have been. So, were my brain and my heart always dancing well together? Not always, but I think I would just tell myself to follow my heart, but make sure my brain was on the trip too. Does that make sense?
No, it does. That's very,
Absolutely.
Because that tempers it a little,
Yeah.
But follow your heart. I've always, I think if you're honest with yourself, where the brain is honest with yourself, and the heart, you can't really go wrong.
Right. No, I like that.
Thank you.
All right, Don. If you have any other questions,
I've
otherwise,
got two more. Though if they're fast.
Do it. No, because I have a little quick fire. We'll end with quick
well,
fire.
These are two.
What's quick? Oh yeah, quick fire.
Quick fire. Don't worry. You don't have to study for this one or that one. So, who is your current celebrity crush, or past, or have always been? Who's?
You want my on the freebie list? No.
Sure.
Well, okay. So up until about 3 weeks ago, it was Pedro Pascal
Yes.
from The Last of Us and The Mandalorian.
Yes.
My roommate. So I was not a Game of Thrones person. I did not watch that show when it first came out, because back then you had to show up every Sunday night for the show. We didn't have streaming, and I didn't have a DVR. I didn't want to be a slave to television. We started watching Game of Thrones about 2 weeks ago, and we're now into season 4. So Pedro Pascal is also in Game of Thrones. Because of Game of Thrones, my current celebrity crush is Kit Harington, who played Jon Snow in Game of Thrones.
Got it.
Yeah.
I love that until 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. But because Pedro is in Game of Thrones too, I'm getting a dose of both. So
Got it.
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And my last one, Gary, then you can have it. It was Who would play you in a movie? Not Pedro Pascal. Or well,
No.
he could be him.
Wow. Okay. Weirdly enough, years ago, my 30s and a little bit into my 40s, I used to get told a lot that I looked. First, it was Paul Newman, and then it was Kevin Costner, and I never saw it. And I, for the longest time, I didn't believe it, but I kept hearing it, so I was like, "What is it?" And then it dawned on me when I was, I think, in my mid 40s. It's the blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But so I think that because I don't feel I look like those two people, but also as Kevin Costner's gotten older, I went to my first big premiere here a couple months ago for Charo. We were my roommate and I were invited by Charo to attend an event, and I had a tuxedo. I don't know if you saw the post or not, but anyway, and 2 or 3 people said to me, "Oh, I thought it was Kevin Costner," because I had sunglasses and the gray hair here. I would say if he's available, Kevin Costner could be the older me. Who I'd love to play me is Jonathan, the guy who's going to be on. He's Bridgerton, Anthony Bridgerton, Jonathan Bailey.
Okay, yeah.
I want him to play me, but we don't look alike. But I would want him to play me because he's such a well-rounded actor. No, not John.
That'd be
who
the
I'd
much
wanna play
younger.
me.
That would be a good one for you.
Yeah, considering
But
I'm
he
only
was Home
35.
Alone, right? Well, not Home Alone. Home Improvement. Wasn't he
Right.
one of the sons on Home Improvement?
Yes, yes, but he's only
But,
47
yeah.
or something, so I'll go for that.
Right. Jonathan Bailey is also going to be Fiyero in the movie coming out in November of Wicked.
Okay.
So,
Oh.
yeah, I know, Gary, you just went and saw that again, didn't you? Or was that Hamilton you just saw recently?
No,
Or what?
I've been seeing a series of live shows, but it was The Wiz. Yeah, I've not seen. I mean, I've seen Wicked a couple times, and I've seen Hamilton once years ago. But no, this season it was probably.
Yeah, you know they're doing a movie, right? You know the
Oh
movie's
yeah,
coming.
and Cynthia Erivo, who will be in
Yes.
the movie, is performing with the San Francisco Symphony in 2 weeks, and I'm going to go see her.
She
lucky
performed
dog.
down here, I think, at the Hollywood Bowl. No, I'm jealous. Yeah,
Yeah.
fun.
So what a wicked connection. Quick fire is like, throw something at you and it's like yes, no, pick one or the other. Just
Okay.
so it's very light and easy.
Do
And
I get
because-
do I get a death card? Like, no, I'm just kidding. It's not that good.
It's not that violent of a game. I know because I've traveled with you, you like to go shopping. Whether you're visiting here or we're out and about, you like to go shopping. So
Yeah.
in terms of fashion, there's a trend that started years ago with men when they dress up and they don't wear socks. So are you a dress socks, yay or nay on the socks?
Oh, I've always been a no socks, but that goes all the way back.
Really?
Oh yeah, that goes back to when I was in college. There was a book called the Official Preppy Handbook.
I remember that.
I could have been the poster boy for that.
So in that book, they said no socks.
Oh yeah, preppies wore topsiders, wide well pants, 2 polo shirts, collar
Yes,
turned up,
2 polo
no socks.
shirts.
Even in the winter, I would wear my boat shoes and no socks. No socks. I've always been a no socker.
Wow, what a rebel you!
Yeah.
No,
But now I wear the little footies that like it's a sock, but you can't see it.
a half sock.
But I also have my compression socks that Don recommended from 3 Ps in a Pod when I fly.
Oh, yeah, I have a pair that
Yeah.
John gave me. Every time I fly, I put them on.
I'll never forget that episode. I was howling.
We didn't need
Laughing.
those in our 30s, did we?
No, but we do. But we do now.
Yeah, well.
Another fashion-related one, another trend. I see it once in a while, and I'm on the fence on this one. Man bun.
Oh gosh, no. That's up there with mullet. It never looked good the first time around. It will never look good.
But sometimes on the right man.
No. Mm-mm. Brad
nice
Pitt is a
bun.
very handsome man, but with a man bun, he's not.
Okay, fine.
Now you know.
I rest my case.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to switch to because you also love the arts.
Oh, I was going to add. So go ahead. Arts.
So whether it's live theater, movies, whatever, comedy or drama.
Honestly, here's the thing. I'm not a big fan of comedy movies, and I've had enough drama in my life. So when I go to the theater, when I go to movies, I want sci-fi or horror. I want to be entertained. And even like Game of Thrones, House of Dragons, Ted Lasso would be the closest to comedy drama that I would get. But I'm not a big fan of either. But I like that we get things like Ted Lasso, that's a comedy drama, something like that. Or the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel was a great comedy drama. But of those, now put it in a musical on stage, and I'm okay with it.
Are you seated for this one?
Yes, sir.
Madonna or Cher?
Okay, well, I have a legitimate answer to that. One's an apple, the other's an orange, so there's no comparison. Here's my support of that. Madonna's first concert in Anaheim, I waited 3 days in line for tickets. Her last one that we just had here in LA, didn't have to do that, fortunately, thank goodness for technology. Great performer. I love her music. It's been with me since I was dancing at a club, believe it or not, an underground club in Salt Lake City, Utah, in the early 80s, and the DJ of that club had been to New York and came back from New York with a cassette tape from Jelly Bean Benitez, who did Madonna's first two songs. And we were dancing to Holiday and Borderline before they were hits.
Wow.
So I knew who Madonna was before she became Madonna. Now, on the Cher side, she's my birthday twin. We both have the same birthday.
Oh.
So, and growing up, I could never watch Sonny and Cher because they were on Monday night, and that was Monday Night Football. And in my house, we were watching Monday Night Football. So I had to wait till the summer. Remember they used to do reruns in the summer?
Yeah.
So I could see Sonny and Cher and Laugh-In on reruns. I've always loved Cher. I've been to all three of her farewell concerts.
I love that. And she'll probably have another one soon.
And she's about to tour again, yes. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
One's an apple and one's an orange. Can't compare. I love them both.
So I'm going to end with this one question because Don got a kick out of it.
Okay.
So it is.
Were these directly for me, or are these questions ones you ask everybody? Are they
so
tailored?
I have a whole list of, I call it bits, random questions, or this and that, and so there's a whole series of questions. So depending on the person, I just kind of pick. Well,
Okay.
I'll ask them this one, that one, and this one.
I understand. Okay.
So 6 episodes from now, I may ask someone one of those questions.
I understand. Yeah.
But so this, I don't know what made me think of this,
Gosh.
but Don got a kick out of it. So, and you're old enough to know who this is. Janice Ian sang "I Learned the Truth at 17." Alan Glander, when did you learn the truth?
And did you have that album?
I've been to
vinyl?
I've been to paradise, but I've never been to me. Janice Ian, I know that song. I was not a big Ian. She was a little too folksy, but I do know that particular song. When did I
That's the
learn
only
the
song of hers that I remember.
Right, exactly. I think that's the case. 25. I was 25.
And so what happened? I mean, if you can share, what was it about 25 that did something click?
There was a principle that I was well aware of, but I decided to put it into action. My belief is that, every creature on this earth fulfills the measure of its creation. In other words, dogs are dogs, cats are cats, zebras are zebras. Man was given freedom of choice. Animals eat, sleep, drink, poop, reproduce. Eat, sleep, drink, reproduce. They run on instinct. Man, although we have instinct, we also have a brain and the ability to rein in that instinct or be ruled by it or any variation thereof. We can make a choice. We get to a crossroads and we can go, I can go down this road and that, or I can go down this road. And when you go down the road to the right, there are consequences. And when you go down the road to the left, there are consequences. At 25, I realized, okay, I know this principle. Now I'm going to put it into practice. I get to a point and I'm like, okay, I can go left or I can go right. And then I just exercised my free agency. I think that was learning the truth, that I was the one in control.
Right.
Like I said earlier, I can't control what happens to me, but I can control how I respond to that situation.
Right. And if you take the path on the right ends up being the wrong path, you learn from that.
Exactly. And then you get to make more choices. And like I said, the person that I am today, I'm the sum of all those things in my last 66 years. Are there things that I would do differently? Maybe when I'm at that crossroads, but because I'm like who I am today, and I'm proud of who I am today, and I mean that in a humble way, not a vainglorious way. I think I'm a good person. I try to be a good person. I like who I am. I am the sum of those experiences. So would I change those experiences? I don't know, because they've made me who I am today. But yeah, at 25 is when I started exercising that conscientiously. I think, before we know that, but sometimes we just fly off and go do stuff.
Yeah.
Like work for H&M or something like that.
Ba-dum-bum.
But
Well, thank you so much for sharing. That was
Alan,
amazing.
this was
You guys,
amazing.
thank you.
Thank you so much. I kind of feel, since I haven't seen you and you haven't been answering my text for a while, that maybe.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
No, but
I knew this was coming, Gary. I knew this was
you
coming.
started it, but here's the thing, Alan. I don't know if I've ever had the opportunity to really speak with you this way or listen to you this way. And
Oh,
it's
Don,
really
this,
nice.
yeah.
It's really nice.
It was, and so, although, I love you as a friend, but our interaction was jovial.
Yep.
And through three
short.
P's, I got to know,
Yep.
and short, yes.
So,
And
And
always
yeah.
with a group of people, so you
Yeah.
can't. It's a different dynamic when you're in
Yeah.
a crowd of 8 or 10 people or so.
yeah, and
But you
this
guys
is-
also deep dove on great subjects, and you shared your experiences and your knowledge. So, but I feel so much closer to you, even though I haven't seen you, because I've listened to these experiences and things that you've had. So this is, for me, your journeys through your podcast life has been inspiring and enlightening, very much so.
That's a very nice thing for you to say, but also thank you so much for being yourself with us. I mean, that's what we really want to share with people because, as we said earlier, we're all going through this. We're all going through stuff. We're all dealing with life right now. You sound
Yeah.
like you're really in a good place right now.
Yeah.
Which is great.
I think I remember Gary gave me a list of different things to ponder, and I do as much as when we're in our 40s, the insecurity of life or social or physical or remote, whatever. I think our ability to handle things is better at this age, or deal with. You learn also what's important and what isn't. Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. So you get to just enjoy the things that are important to you.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Well, thank you again
So-
for joining us. That was amazing. I feel that I know you more. I know more about you.
Yeah.
Which was very nice of you to share. So maybe you can come back for us sometime when we need a little
Sure.
script redo or a little PR
Sure.
work.
Let me know. Yeah,
But
if
we're
you need
gonna
if you need me to red pencil anything.
Okay. But again, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to take a break, but don't hang up because I'd like to speak with you for a second, if you don't mind.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Alan,
You bet.
Alan Glander, thank you so much for joining us. We'll have you back in some form, shape, or entity. So-
You guys, this
And-
was so awesome. I am so appreciative of the chance
as are
Yay.
we. So
to chat.
we're going to take a break, but hold on for 1 second, Alan. And we're back.
What about your God?
My God. Listen, that was a wonderful, wonderful interview with Alan, and we're very, very grateful that he took the time to speak with us. I think we talked about. I learned more about Alan now that I didn't know in the past. We've had a chance. It was actually nice to have a great, insightful, in-depth conversation with him. He's a really great guy.
Yeah, and I think maybe this was mentioned off air, but the times that you guys have interacted, usually there's a big group of people. We're at either someone's home or at a restaurant or a bar, and you can't have that same in-depth one-on-one conversation that you do when you've got music and cocktails and a crowd of people, right? So this was a much more intimate setting.
Yes. And I think you
Yeah,
really
so-
got the gist of who Alan is. He was very honest. He was very straightforward. He was really upfront with everything he's gone through and going through and where he's at right now. And that's the kind of guest we would like to have on again.
I was just going to say, I mean, the types of conversations that we'd like to have is what we had with Alan, where it's sharing your stories, maybe your fears, your hopes, whatever that may be, and just, be speak your truth.
Yep. And
as
holding
they
your
say.
feet to the fire if you don't respond to texts. That's the biggest thing. Guilty me
He's
into that
talking
one,
about
Ellen.
you.
I know. You're very good at that kind of thing. So, yeah, I think that was really good. We're looking forward to having more guests soon. We're going to pepper it in, the guests, because I think that's exactly the kind of interview we'd like to have with people to be honest and share your truth. That's what we're looking for. Oh.
If you are someone who's interested in contacting us, or maybe being a guest on the show, there's a couple ways you can get a hold of us. Obviously through our email, which is donandgarydoin60@gmail.com. There's also Instagram and Facebook. Watch us on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, love for you to watch us on YouTube and subscribe and comment
Yes.
and reach out to us.
So please like and subscribe, as Gary said. It's super easy. You just check a little box. You just slam it down. You just hit it. You just hit the subscribe button. You just smack it. So yeah, it's just kind of like
Hit it hard.
hit it hard. Hit it again. Hit her. So yeah. So I guess we're ready to close this one down. It was a great one, and I thank
Yes.
Gary for being such a good host. Well, thank you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed spending time and quality interactions with us. As Gary said, you can find us on all the socials. Instagram, Don and Gary Doin60. YouTube, Don and Gary Doin60. At the email address that Gary mentioned earlier. Please DM us. We'd love to have you on the show. Gary, anything to add before we shut it down?
No, I think I got shut down because I got to go see my mama.
Okay. Go see your mama. Go see your mama and give a kiss. That woman. I know.
That
Tried
woman.
to run me over with her car. I remember her.
Stop it. Stop spreading rumors.
Well, I think it was you driving. And never mind. We're not going to go through this again. I've relived it too many times in my
We're not going through that.
Okay. Talk to you later. Have a good one. Say hi to your mama.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.